way. I see the blue skies coming through.
Sing it, baby.
Trouble and pain rolling away like the morning rain. I love that song.
Keep going. It's all because I'm here with
you. It's a bright sun. It's a sunshiny day.
Oh, sick.
Boy, I used to be able
that
to
high note. Welcome in. Welcome to Duzie Live.
It is a sunshiny day here in Tyrone, Georgia. We welcome you, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or if you're watching it on a replay, welcome.
So this is Duzie Live, and this is our theme, Boy Meets Girl.
Boy meets girl.
This is a part of our we've got a season, a few episodes going that are in the series of unique relationships.
There are a lot of different unique relationships. Sometimes we just take them for granted, but we need to really look at them. So this week and next week, we're looking at the boy meets girl, and next week is girl meets boy.
So today is the perspective.
We're looking in the mind of the guy.
Of this mind.
What were you thinking? That's what we're really looking at.
Yeah, do you know that your life is a remarkable story, an adventure that only you can create?
Thanks for being here with us. We exist to motivate and equip you to live fully alive.
And once again, today in this Duzie Live, we're talking about unique relationships. Boy Meets Girl is the title of this one. And so we welcome everybody in. So some of you are popping in the chat. You know what to do. Thank you for doing that.
There's quite a few, it looks like, up in the participants area. Please, if you would, put your just tell us where you're at today. We're in Tyrone, Georgia.
Where are you coming from? So welcome in Jacob Faulkner, first to hop in on the chat, coming in from California. Yep. And then Tim and Joni Thomas are out on our back porch. They're visiting us for a few days.
Computer.
And then Michaela, you're back again from Portugal.
Back, Matt
Thanks
Taylor.
For
Hi.
Coming in from the UK. Lara coming in from Switzerland. Whoop, whoop. And Paolo from Portugal.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
And the lovely Madam Brown. Madam Brown is with us. Thank you so much for hopping in.
You're the lovely people.
Ruben's also coming in from Portugal.
Tammy from Africa.
West Africa. Yeah, we got a good span of people. Illy from the Netherlands. Welcome in.
Wow,
we love having you all here. This is fantastic.
Just wait this rolling. There's quite a few people in the participants. Let us tell you what happened this morning. This morning, we were looking at the same subject, and it just lit up with people talking on the chat. We love that. And we invite you throughout this day as we're talking, get that chat going. You can talk to each other in the chat. You can ask us questions. You can make comments. We'll try to pick them up as we go. But wow, I was just blown away at how engaged people were this morning.
And also how vulnerable people were. So we invite you into that space. Victoria, I see you've popped in. Hola, bienvenidas de Argentina. Welcome in from Argentina. So again, as Dan just said, we're going to present some material that we've prepared just to spark you. We have only one poll today, and the rest of the time you get to type in and give us your thoughts because we want to know them and we want to hear them.
Now, let me tell you where this came from. Last week, after we did our unique relationship talk, there were a couple people from MTO, the camp we do for missionary teenagers, who had said, wouldn't it be great if we could actually look inside the guy's brain, especially when the guy meets girl, what's going on there, and then switch it up. So we looked into the girl's brain, what actually is happening there when girl meets boy. And we thought, this is great. So we've been doing research all week long. Some of the things it's science says, or
you said,
different people have said, and we just want to get some feedback. We're not laying this out if this is the only way things are to be looked at, but there's some interesting ways of looking at the guy's brain, which is different from the girl's brain.
Yeah, and what we found this morning, which we absolutely love because each of us are unique, the material, the science, the responses were a starting point from us. And then from there, many of us went different places, and we encourage you to do that again. A couple more people have popped in. Nadine Betz, thank you. Welcome in from Germany. And Kat and Michael from Michigan. And we want to start with a poll. So you got the poll music?
My poll music.
So we've got a poll here. We want to know who's in the room. Are you a boy? Are you male? Are you a girl? Are you female? Or Are you like us?
Now, we're not saying are you both where you can't figure it out, but you're in the room and there's a guy there and a girl in the
like
room.
us,
Then you put both.
We're a small group of both guys and girls. And we've got things coming in here. People
girls
are
are leading the pack. But the guys, just
it's
to test.
changing.
It just went back again. Oh, the guys for a moment were way up there, and then they jump back.
Okay, so this looks very, very similar. Whoa. Yeah. Okay, this looks similar to this morning.
22, 33, and 44%.
It just changed again.
Oh.
So this is where we're currently at right now.
So more girls.
So we have 30. Oh, and it just changed again. Oh, got to take another one. 33% guys, 41% girls, and 23% both.
Boys and girls, exactly the same. 38% boys, 38% girls. Oh, girls just passed us.
Okay, it's back up to the girls. 35, 42, 21. Anybody else?
I think
leave it one more second.
But this is a perfect one for there to be more girls in the house, because it's good for you to think or figure out how the guys think. Now, I'm going to need you guys' help today as I am explaining things. I need you to say, yeah, that's the way I am, or no, that's not the way I am. It is not rocket science here. It is how we feel. It is what statistics say, but where are we at in this? So we really need to be talking together today.
So Matt Taylor, he's on it with you. He said, all these people want to know what's happening in the mind of you guys. You nailed it, Matt. That's
loving the outfits?
Okay, so
gotta
explain our outfits.
I decided today, I very rarely do this, but I decided what we were going to wear today. A white shirt, white shirts. That's what we're going to wear. So I got my shirt out ready to iron it, and Susie comes out in this. And I'm like, well, my white shirt won't match that. But then I thought, perfect. Today we're looking at guys and girls. We're both in black and white.
Yeah.
But I'm a guy, and things are very systematic. Black line, white line. Black line, white line. I mean, it's very black and white.
And I'm
Susie,
like, woo! It's everywhere.
So she came out and says, can you match this? And I was like, oh, yeah, I can match that.
He's good at that. So thanks for the call out about the outfits. And Matt said, it's not rocket science. It's FAR. That stands for Fully Alive Revolution. I love the way you capped that, Matt. It's far more complex than that. You are so right.
This week when we were working on Boy Meets Girl, I found this video. I actually put it on the registration page. Got a lot of comments from people how they loved it. So we're going to launch into today by watching this girl and this guy meet up. And I want to ask you a question as you're going through. Try to figure out what movie a lot of these scenes came from, because it's not the cartoon. It was originally, some of these scenes were directly out of a movie. It wasn't animation. It was a real movie. And as I go through and watch it, it's so clear that they were looking at that movie when they made this. If you can know what that is, put it in the chat at the end. But here we go.
Or anytime. And we encourage you to put anything in the chat at any time during Duzie Live, as always. All right.
Oh, I love that part. So good. So good. Oh, I love it.
Love that.
So, did anyone guess the movie that it's sort of, there were just a few scenes in it from a movie.
It was inspired by.
Yeah.
So Matt
Movie
thinks Jess
guessing.
can do it, but.
Yeah. Anyone? You have the opportunity. Just take a few moments. I need to get my music out here, don't I?
Yeah, you do. You need to give us some
going.
sound effects. We could figure that out. Boy meets girl. I think this video very well just shows what's going on. Guy, girl is very exaggerated, of course. But what does a guy think? And Dan, we're going to be picking your brain and all the brains of the guys here. What's beyond what I see? What's really going on? Because we interpret through our own lens of what we see and what we think.
Okay, I'm a guy, so I only can think of one thing at a time. So we'll get back there in a moment. I'm still thinking about the movie. I don't know, but no, it's not The Notebook. It would have been a good one. But
Nice guess.
in this movie, which was called What's Up, Doc?
Very old
starring
movie.
Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal, there was a scene in it where they were in a
There's a chase scene in a bug.
in San Francisco. No, they were in a cart, in a basket.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
They were in a basket. They went through pianos. They ended up in a lake. It was just an incredible. When it wasn't until the first 9:00 show that I actually went, that's What's Up, Doc. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, that's where it's at. So good guessing. Good guessing. Thank you very much for that. So we're going to take you through.
If you haven't seen What's Up, Doc, I would highly recommend it.
It's a funny
very
movie.
very
Yeah. So Boy Meets Girl. This is part 1 of our unique relationships series. And it's really what's happening inside a guy in this moment, especially when they meet and beyond. And next week, we're going to focus on girl meets boy.
What happens in her brain when she
What
meets a
happens
guy?
in us girls. So when we get tempted to go into what the girl thinks or what's happening inside the girl, Dan's going to help referee us and steer us back. No, we're really focusing today on what's going on with the
Because so
guys.
many relationships don't go forward because we're stuck with, well, that guy is so different than I am. But you don't want to marry or fall in love or date someone just like you. How boring that would be. You got to make sure that there's some spice in there. There's some differences there, because that diversity is actually what draws people together. But if you're expecting someone to think and act and be just like you, it's not going to work.
So welcome to the 2 o'clock Duzie Live. So here's 2 pictures here, and this is like the gears or what's going on inside the brain of the guy and the girl. Now in this picture, of course, it's not exactly like that. It's gears going, and they're sort of symmetrical. They look very rhythm. And then on the girl's side, you see flower gears. I did like that one a lot because I do like flowers. It's not exactly like that, and we're going to explore that just a little bit further.
Some statistics here, okay?
Let's start back with the first boy meets the first
boy
girl.
meets the first
Should
girl.
we start there?
Okay, that's the
Take
first
us
statistic.
there. You take us there.
First statistic is, in the beginning, there was one guy, and he was created by God.
Adam.
And that's Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 1, you have them like both being created at the same time. That's more of the poem, which doesn't really sounds good. Genesis chapter 2, God makes man out of dust of the earth, takes him from the wilderness, puts him in a garden, and has him name the animals. And in the process, he's looking for who will be my helpmate. And, it's not going to be the bunny. It's not going to be this. It's not going to be that. So eventually, God grows a woman from his side. And that's where there's like this first word, whoa, man. I mean,
Whoa,
whoa,
man.
man. There was something that ignited inside the guy. And at that point, there was a difference. Even though they were in a state of innocence, there was a difference. But as time go on, we realize there's probably a bigger difference than just the body. There's a lot of difference in the mind.
We want to look at that scientifically. Let's start here with the content or the type of matter inside the brain. There's 2 types of matter. One is gray matter and one is white matter, and they have 2 functions And both male and female have both gray and white.
And does gray matter?
Gray does matter.
So in the guy's brain, according to science, we have 6 times more gray matter. And the gray matter is really there for concrete thinking, for focused thinking, for practical. That doesn't mean girls are not concrete or focused or practical, but in a normal guy's brain, there is 6 times more of that gray stuff to be able to be really black and white, focused, practical.
And concrete. And then compare that to a female brain. There's 10 times more white matter.
Now, wait, I want to stop there. So I think because the flowers, we have to say it's white flower matter. Don't you think so?
Flower as
white doesn't go with the flower, so I got to say white flower.
Okay.
It's different than wheat flour.
Thank you for that brain.
10 times more white flour.
10 times more white matter, a type of brain composition. And the white matter in our brain is responsible for detail and emotion. And women have 10 times more of that, where men have 6 times more gray matter. So we want to invite you. This is not a poll, but we just invite you in the chat to just type of those 5 descriptions, some of that gray matter, some of it white, concrete, focused, practical, detail, emotion. Which of those 5 do you have? Because we know that many of the guys also have detail and emotion. We also know many of the girls have concrete, focused, and practical. How is it for you?
If you were to choose 2 of those, write that in the chat. Which
2 or
2 would you
3?
say are the strongest for you?
Yeah.
For me, oh my, focused. I'm a very focused person. And I would say my second one would be practical. If it's not practical, why are we doing it?
Yeah. And for me, I would say I have emotion would come first, and then practical, that always comes in there. And then on different things, there's a lot of detail. Yeah. So that's why I was like, you're limiting me to only 2. So please type right there in the
See, that's me, practical focus.
Type in the chat, which of those 5 words describe you somewhat? What order would you say they come in for you?
And don't say, I'm not going to do one because what's on the guy's side or whatever. Really, if one of them jumps out to you, that's great. Please put it in there.
We're not pigeonholing anybody and trying to put you in a box or a space. We are actually trying to just have this as starting conversation. And meanwhile, we just want to welcome Michaela and Tiffany. They jumped in, and they're coming from Tyrone, the other side of Tyrone where we're at as well.
So Michaela Weaver says for her, it's detail and practical. Great. For your mom who's there, it's detailed, emotion, and practical. That's great.
Thank you for sharing that. Matt Taylor says all of them.
You have the right.
All right. And Laura says, I think I have all, but emotion is pretty strong. Okay. Me too. Victoria.
Are you saying emotion's not strong for you?
It is very strong. No, I would say it's number 1 strong. Oh. Me too. I'm same like Laura.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same like Laura. So Victoria is practical and detail. Matthew says, got to choose 2. Okay, he's gonna go for 2. Detail and practical. Okay. So that's like 1 of each. Great. Mm-hmm. And then Jacob says emotion and focused. Good. Ruben says focused and emotion. Lara says detail and practical. Laura Haddon, welcome in, Laura. I didn't see you were here before. Welcome in. Illy says detail, emotion. Nadine says emotion and detail. Michaela says practical and emotion.
Nothing like practical emotions.
Isn't that interesting? So you see the guys and the girls, even though we have more white matter, female, and more gray matter, we have combinations of different things. And so we can't just say a guy is like this and a girl is like that. But when we think of these starting points, it helps us understand one another a little bit better.
Kat says detail and emotion, and Michael says concrete and practical.
Yes.
So good.
And Laura says my number 2 is detail as well. And Jess says, just 2. Sorry, Jess, you can have all 5. Detail and emotional practical. That's a hard one. Yeah, so she's going to make a new Duzie word, emotional practical.
That's good. So this is good to really look at these things because we're not trying to just say this, everything about a girl is like this, everything about a guy is like that, because there is a lot of mixture. But we're trying to look at what are some of the overwhelming, it seems more of this and this.
Yeah. And Tiffany said emotion and practical too. Matt asked, what do we mean concrete?
concrete. That's like cement. No, that is very
straightforward.
black and white.
Yeah.
Very black and white.
Yeah. Thank you for asking that question.
Oh, I love this one. Here you have the process
Many
time.
people have emotions, so let's talk emotions.
The process time for emotion. When you have an emotion, especially a strong emotion, something takes place in the brain. It goes to, let's just call it a thread or a pathway. From the time the strong emotion hits to the time it processes, there is a pathway that it takes to the brain. Now, in a guy, typically,
18 inches.
it's 18 inches
16,
long. So
bit.
that's how long the process is. And the average guy processes a very high emotion in around 90 minutes. Now, I know a guy that he used to lose a football game. It took him 2 days to get over it. He had longer strength. But normally, the guy is 18 inches of pathway, which takes about 90 minutes. How about for the girl?
Yeah, so this is on average if it's a high emotion. For a woman, you notice it's 90 minutes, 1.5 hours for a guy generally. But a woman needs 9 to 12 hours to process the chemicals that are released in our body from the intense emotion. So you see, we tried to represent, I can't remember exactly how long, but it's like almost as long as our intestines. It's very, very long, the pathway to process these intense emotions for a woman. So for me, I definitely need time. And I find that usually if I can have a good sleep and a nice reset, by the morning, I'm in a different state. Because oftentimes Dan and I will have a conversation or something will hit us both. And Dan walks away, does something else an hour, 2 hours later. And I'm like, Dan, how are you feeling about this? And he says,
about what?
Because he's processed it in his short amount of span. He's worked it out.
No,
and I'm still in the midst of the emotions.
It's easy to give a little bit of a judgment here. And maybe your girls are going, 90 minutes, is that all? You guys are so, surface level. Or guys, you may be saying to the girls, oh, that's so long. But that's the way God made us.
Yes.
God made the brains to work that way. So we need to be really thinking about, okay, that's the way it is for a guy. Okay, that's the way it is for a girl.
Yeah, and Laura had, and you're asking 9 to 12 hours. What does that process involve? Come back next week. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But there is chemical release in our body, and that's why exercise. It doesn't
mean next week's going to take 9 or 12 hours. It doesn't mean that.
No, well, we can talk about that. That's a woman's size. But there is sleep helps us, and exercise helps us, and water and sunlight and diffusing. We've been talking a lot about intense emotions and stress and what that does to us. And there's so many things that help, and there's so many things that don't help.
Because memory making is chemicals. So for a guy, the chemicals don't go as far. For the girls, they go much farther.
So we'd love for you to put in a chat. Again, we're not trying to say guys and girls. You tell us about how long, if you've had an intensely emotional moment, it came to you or you had it, how long does it take you to process? Give it to us in minutes or hours, whatever you want. Just write that right there in the chat.
I would be pretty much on the 90 minute. That's, if something is holding on after 90 minutes, there have been things that have held on for days that were just so painful. But typically a strong emotion, breathing time for me is about 90. How about you?
Yeah, it does take me definitely, if it's a high emotion, it takes me a sleep before I can be over it. And if it was really intense, it is a sleep and a part of a day. So I would probably be in the 9 to 12 hours.
Sometimes the suggestion best is, why don't you go take a nap? This would be a good just go take
reset.
A nap. Just reset.
Yeah. And then Jacob wrote, I'm still processing emotions from years ago. And I think you're bringing up a very valid point. Something that has been stressful or intense or something that happened to us or with us a long season ago or repeatedly. That is something that will probably cause us a lot of stress. And we talked about STIRBs with Kim Kukura a number of weeks ago. And those kind of things might need extra support, extra help in counseling or coaching, mentor, a coach, someone to journey with you and process those emotions. And that's very true, Jake.
This is one of the things that I think is going on right now with the whole case in Minneapolis, that at first when you just saw it, people were processing, this is not right, this is wrong. And then we keep talking about it because it is wrong. This is wrong what has happened. And we spur off of each other. And this sometimes negative talk grows negative talk, and hopefully it grows to the place where something changes. But sometimes we're in those situations, like if Susie and I are both in a place where we're not doing well, and we keep talking about not doing well, it keeps resetting that trigger over and over again. Here we go, another 90 minutes. Here we go, another 9 hours, because we keep rehashing that. And I think when we came off the ship, we were not doing too well emotionally, and we had to go through a debriefing, and someone actually helped us untie those knots that had really caused us not to move ahead.
Right. And I think this coronavirus time as well, we don't know what the future looks like. Things are beginning to unfold and sort of unfold and not, and we don't know what it's going to look like. And so sometimes this causes high emotions for us as well that need to be processed.
So we got a few here. What we got?
Matt says, no stress, Jacob, same here, and probably for most guys. Yeah, we have things from the past that we're still working through. True. Jess says 9 to 12 hours. That makes sense. 90 minutes sounds like a gift. I agree with you. Victoria, guess girls have slow emotional digestion then.
Ooh, I like
the way you put that, Victoria. It's very true. Matt said, yeah, generally not more than an hour or so, usually. Jacob said, if there's no conversation of closure, that it can take weeks. But if I have worked out the conflict, then about 1 day.
Good.
So I think this is true. It very much depends on our situation. Lara says, I'm similar like Susie. I'll need the 9 to 12 hours. Rahel says, I'm more with the 90 minutes.
Good.
Kat says, I'm with you, Susie. I usually need a good sleep or exercise for processing. Michael needs about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Go, Michael. And Rachel said, I mean, when I take time for it. Yes. Michaela, it's about 90 minutes of constant processing. I feel like 9 to 12 hours is not necessarily constant processing, but there's in between time where I might just sit there. Great question. Is it 90 minutes for you of solid time?
No, but you know how sometimes you have, let's say it's a sadness, a grief, or something that it just sort of hangs there for that amount of time. I think you can still live your life. You're not processing all the time, but for you to be able to just sort of breathe and walk away. There are other times it's much longer, sometimes shorter, but like if it's in my mind, it's Susie and I have a conversation. There's some kind of disconnection. There's pain. Something was said. Again, I'm going to have to work on that for 90 minutes. She's going to have to work on it all night. And so then we can see light again. We can breathe and move forward.
Yeah, and I think, Michaela, for me, it's not a constant 9 to 12 hours, although maybe if I did, it might be shorter. But it does take time in my body for it to work through. It takes time in my mind. It takes going to God. For me, it takes processing in my journal, verbalizing it out. There's a lot of things that help support me in the process of it. And it's not constant because that's not life for me. Many times I have other things that I have to do. Laura Hayden says, I'm going to time long my processing this week and bring all my questions next week.
Yeah, good.
Do that.
Good idea.
Do that. Tammy says 5 to 20 hours. A good sleep is good for me too.
That's good.
And Matt's just saying, good idea, Laura. Paulo says normally between 1 hour and 1.5 hours. Yeah. Great to have a nice walk around the block or go to the gym working out.
Susie and I almost every day take a walk really for this reason, just to process, to breathe. And I believe nature somehow helps to move that through even quicker.
Yeah, Michaela says, I know I need longer time than my husband. I'm guessing that's her mom. That's Michaela's mom. But I've learned that his shorter time to process is a gift to me from God. There's a difference between processing versus stewing and building negative narratives. I need space to process, but also need my helpmate in order to move forward. Amen. This is so true for me too.
Because I think part of the things that she's bringing out there is what is the story you're telling to yourself?
Yeah.
I think part of the process is sometimes we're telling a story that's defeating us. Sometimes we're telling a yes story, which is, yes, I can move past this, and it moves very quick. So a lot of it depends on the story you're telling. And then if you bring other people into it, whether it's a mate or a roommate or a friend, then sometimes that really helps. Person. Sometimes it crushes it even more.
Yeah, Jacob said, it also depends on the emotion. I process anger extremely quickly, but misunderstandings, hurt, and sadness can take much longer for me. True. Many things that we're set up for, it takes longer. Ely says sometimes it takes a whole day.
Yeah.
Yep. And Matt reminds us exercise is the best
Yeah.
for emotional processing.
Yeah. Sometimes for me though, it's the exercise that causes the physical emotions. So
it causes you the high emotions.
The high emotions.
I just wonder if you are thinking of it. We've seen some of the things. What helps you process? Just pop that in the chat as we carry on.
Yeah. So here's just a really fun one we found online. Guy's brain, girl's brain. I think this is like the college goofy one of the study, but
the society says
I love on the guy's side. There's the power tool lobe, and there's the TV remote control, and the job stuff, and the beer lobe, and the sex lobe, and that's bigger. And it's a bit of fun, but there are some things in there that might be very true of what's going on in a guy's brain. So
society says the other picture for the female brain. I noticed that the biggest circle, the brightest one, is chocolate. Ladies, I'm going to ask you, how many of you really appreciate chocolate? I want to see it in the chat. Just write chocolate. There's also binges and cravings, maternal urges and weddings, fantasy, bad hair days, that comes in there, shopping lobe, musicals and sitcoms, gossip lobe, mystery moods and behaviors. So these are just funny things, but this is what society stereotypes the male brain and the female brain with.
So let's move on into one of the books that we really came in contact with on the ship was, we used to speak about on the ship, was Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
By John Gray. And here's a quote that we love that we really want to remind ourselves of. We're seeing it already here in Duzie Live. We are unique individuals with unique experiences. I love the way Psalm 139 says we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and I know that full well. And I love that God made us so unique with unique experiences, and we need to fully know ourselves. And thank you for joining Duzie Live today, Boy Meets Girl, because hopefully you're going to help know yourself just a little bit more.
We're getting a few comments on chocolate. I just want you to know in the 9 o'clock program, there was a girl from India with us. And in India, they just don't do chocolate.
Because it melts.
And so everyone's like, chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. She says, no, not chocolate. But again, it's cultural.
Yeah, that's true. So Michaela says, hey, chocolate actually releases serotonin, so proven to help. Yes.
More chocolate.
Lara, I love chocolate. Of course you love chocolate. You come from Switzerland, where some of the best chocolate comes from.
Definitely.
Thank you for sharing that
with us.
They
have cows with bells.
Yes, it's such a good chocolate there. Kat says, journaling or exercise is getting outside in nature helps me process. Michaela
Take the dog for a walk.
Chocolate, but no shopping or gossip for Michaela. Thank you. Jacob says, art and gymnastics help me process. Laura says, sour Skittles are my chocolate.
Ooh, good.
Ooh, I do love that. Michaela says, music. I'll put sad songs on to process sad emotions.
I would say music is my chocolate for sure.
Yeah. Oh, no, Laura, I can't abide sour sweets. Jess says, extreme gardening helps me to process emotion. I love that, extreme gardening. And not chocolate, but chips. Okay. But you're British. Sour sweets rule in England. Laura's just letting Matt know. That's right.
Good comments. So let's move into a little bit more on the Boy Meets Girl, part 1 of 2. Again, next week, girls, you'll have your time. But we just really unpack what's going on in the guy's brain.
So we're going to compare and contrast just a little bit.
There's a little disclaimer before we get going, because I don't even say, that's not me, that's not me, you're stereotyping. We don't want to do that at all. We don't want anyone to feel like they're being put in a box. If you notice, the box is open and empty, because we want this, as we discuss this, to really open up relationships so that we begin to understand more and that we're more free. So hopefully that's where we go. If we say something about a guy this week or a girl next week, and you're like, that's not me at all, that's okay. There's no boxes here. It's very open space. We're just talking, because the awareness we want to have is guys and girls are different. And we need to figure out, how do I speak? How do I understand? How do I allow the other person to live fully alive? Because they're not going to be like me.
Yeah, so you notice the box is way down in the corner, and there's lots of white space, and we want to explore the place that spreads us out and helps us understand ourselves. Ooh, yeah. Helps us understand ourselves and others.
Oh, do a story. Okay.
So we take you back to 1986. So this is Dan and I back in 1986. Go ahead and make lots of fun comments on that. Notice Dan does have hair. He did have hair back in the day. And my hair
was matching, if you noticed, back then. Not today.
This morning, Rob said matching mullets. I love that. So 1986, this picture was taken before we were married.
So sometimes, so you may have heard me tell the story about us getting married. We were at a church camp, and I was riding my bicycle around doing security. I came around this corner right by the guy's bathroom, girls' bathrooms on the other side, and I looked and I saw Susie's eyes. I mean, it was like, oh my. Now, I knew she was a Thomas girl, because that was her last name, because she looked just like the whole clan. But for some reason, I had never met her at all the years I went to camp. I think they had her hid in the closet.
No.
So I came around the corner and I said, I have to get to know her. Now, this is very strange. I was not one of those guys out looking for girls. I just wasn't. But something took place in that moment. So I set my bike down and I walked across the street, because across the street was a friend of mine named Sue Keller, and I knew Sue Keller would introduce me to this girl with the most amazing eyes. So I went across the street, and Sue did exactly what I thought.
And
she said,
"You didn't say about hitting the tree with the bike."
I didn't hit the tree with the bike.
Well, that's how I remember that story. You hit.
Susie always says,
bike.
"I hit a tree with the bike." I didn't ever do that. That is something she was not. She was not totally in her full element, I think, at that point. So there was no tree. I laid the bike down.
I didn't notice you. You noticed me. So I guess maybe we'll talk about my
next
side
week.
next
We
week.
can talk about your side.
Okay.
My side.
Over
I
to
set
you.
the bike
Over
down.
to you.
I walked across the street. Sue Keller introduced me to Susie, and I was just mesmerized by her eyes. And then she smiled at me. I don't even think I was touching the ground then. I was just like, this is amazing. And that hair, and she just got back from Mexico. She had this beautiful dark skin. And it was like, I have to get to know the girl. And here's what Susie says. I would like you to come to my birthday party tonight. And I was like, she needs me. She needs me to come to her birthday party. It was like, yes, I didn't care what was going on. I'm going to be at that birthday party because Susie needs me there. And so I left, and I rode my bike away. There was no damage to it because I had not hit anything. I rode my bike away, and I got maybe 15 minutes away, and I thought, oh my, I didn't even check her out. I don't know if she's skinny or if she's fat or if she's tall or she's short. I didn't even matter to me, and it was just, she captured me with her eyes, and then that smile it grabbed my heart forever. It did. So what I was thinking, sometimes guys are always thinking of sex and the girl's body and everything, and all these girls doing all these things to be noticed. I didn't even notice. There was just those eyes that God gave her, reached out and grabbed me, and have always since. And
then actually we met, and then there was a church service that night, and I came and sat right in the front of you. This is like an
church service,
right?
She comes to sit right in front of me.
I was a little bit late to the church service. This should have been a clue to him for his life,
but she came and sat in front of me, and she turned around, and with her, it would have been her right hand, she touched my left knee, and she said words I'll never forget. She said, "Hi." And then she turned around and looked at I was like, I don't remember anything about that message, because it was like, she said hi to me. And the rest of the message, I just looked at the back of her hair, and I thought, how do I spend the rest of my life with this incredible girl? I don't think I ever washed my knee either. It was an amazing time.
Meanwhile, I was inviting, disclaimer, I was inviting everybody to my birthday party.
Oh yeah, I thought it was just me. No, it was everybody.
I love to celebrate, and so I didn't even think that he was having all these things going on.
She didn't even remember me.
So this is like the boy's brain versus the girl's brain. So that was the start of the Boy Meet Girl. Now, last week on Sunday, it was our 34th anniversary, and we had a celebration, and many of you celebrated with ice cream scoops, so thank you very much. We had over 400 scoops of ice cream that people from all around the world ate to celebrate.
You can still join us, have more ice cream.
Yeah, so if you want to watch the wedding, there's two versions. The wedding straight up, And this particular one on YouTube, our Duzie
It's
Potter
like this. We're
channel.
commenting as the wedding's going
So the
on.
wedding is happening, and we're down here in the corner, just like in this Duzie Live format, commenting through the whole. It's a 1 hour and 17 minutes. Get
Exactly.
some popcorn, your friends, have a great laugh, and let us know that you watched it and what you thought, just in case you want to do that.
I love that. Saucy Susie. Yes. Yes.
She knew what she was
Oh,
doing.
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
we got to go back a moment. Okay, so
Yes.
here we were back here in this place. I got to see some of your
No
comments.
going, no
Thank
going
you
back.
for
No
making
going back.
comments. Oh. Suze, is your hand inside Dan's jacket there?
Well, we were just trying to figure out. I can't imagine that because
But
we
we're
were
like
not,
very heart connected.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It looks like it is, but I think it's a shadow because I looked at the other and I'm like, is your hand
I
inside?
might have like
But I
hit
don't think so. I think it was that she was just.
we weren't like that. We were almost engaged, and my mom had him put his arm around me for a photo. And
I didn't
one of
even
my
kiss her
nursing.
until after we were engaged. So I mean, I look at it and go, I don't think so, but it looks like it.
It does look like that, so I don't
She's
know.
pretty tricky, so maybe she was doing it when I was looking the other direction.
Good catch, Matt. Yeah. So matching you guys talk about falling in love is the cutest. You all look giddy best friends. We are. Michaela, I love you smiles as you talk about this. A true fairy tale. Lots of ha's. Saucy Susie. Thank you, Laura. She knew what she was doing. Did I? I did not know what I was doing back in the day.
Fishing line on Dan. Fishing line on Dan.
I didn't. What an impression, Susie. She said, hi.
Oh.
Exactly. I love when he
Just
tells
like
that
that.
part.
Just like that. Let's move on.
Oh, it's so funny.
So we're going to look a little more at the brain of the girl, but really focusing if the brain of the girl, brain is this way, then what is the guy and how does it make him think?
Yeah, so women, when we're thinking about processing, women generally process externally. We talk it out together.
Now, guys, we process more internally. And we do a lot more perhaps listening, observing more, trying to observe more of what's going on in life. We ask the questions. We take a little bit more time, and we need more time. We need our cave time to really process.
So what do you need as men? You need time and
Well, yeah.
space.
I mean, sometimes Susie she'll be talking away and says, what do you think? And I'm like, about what? I mean, you've just talked about everything. I mean, let me breathe. Let me just breathe. Let me just think. And so sometimes we think maybe the guy is very aloof. I think they're catching up and trying to internalize what do I think about this? And they're processing. We have to give them time. And it's very important. If Susie is wanting direct stuff all the time, you need to give me a little bit of a break because I need some time to really listen and see the bigger picture and maybe know why you're asking that question, not just that it came out of your mouth.
Yeah, that's true. So we've got the external, the internal processing. Many of us are also on top of that, extroverts and introverts. So we do process differently. If you don't mind, in the chat, write how you process. Are you internal? Are you external? Are you introvert, extrovert? But more importantly, just write extrovert or internal or external. Let us know how it is for you. And I think we're going to prove that we can't put people in a box. Internal, external.
While you're writing that, I'll just comment on Matthew Taylor's comment about coming from the magician that
tricky.
She is. The interesting thing is one of the very first dates I ever took her on, I asked if she wanted to see a magician. And she's like, well, I don't think I've ever seen a magic show. And I said, well, I'm going to take you to this magic show. So we drove about an hour to the magic show, and she didn't even realize that in the back of my car it was full of magic equipment. It was my magic show, but I didn't tell her it was my magic show. Matter of fact, she didn't even know I was a magician.
That's right.
So one of our dates was I took her to a show that I was giving, and she sat in the front row. She was a great audience. First magic show was me.
I think this is a test, right? How will she respond to the magic? Yeah.
So one of the reasons internally that we as guys process is because we need time and we need space. And those are things that when we're thinking about what does the guy think, they think best when they're not put on the spot.
Yeah.
Give them time and space.
So Evelyn says 100% external. Me too, Evelyn. Michaela, me internal, mom external, but her brain is always talking. Lara says internal. Rachel, internal. She's an introvert. Matthew, internal until I get talking. Then I'm a verbal processor. Me too, Matt. Ruben says internal. Jacob says, I'm definitely am more of an internal processor, but I do need to process externally or I will start to over process. Yep. So that's good. You know yourself to know you get going internally and then externally. Outernally.
I like that word. Yeah. Someone write that down. Put it in the dictionary.
Laura says, I internally process little pieces of the situation. As I put the pieces together, I process externally.
Connecting the dots.
It's a good combo. Michaela says, I am a mix of both depending on the circumstance. Sometimes I think about it internally for a while before I want to talk it out loud. And sometimes I just want to talk before I process on my own.
That's great.
Nadine, both internal and external. Tammy, mostly internally, but some externally and becoming more externally. Mm-hmm. Victoria, internal, though I am an extrovert.
That's good.
Yep, that's right. Every combo works.
No boxes here.
Tiffany says external processor at first, but I do then go take time to internally process afterwards. Jess says externally for sure, but I need my internal time. And Matthew says same as Victoria, and Neely says both, and Jess says I get that, Jacob.
Yeah. So these are really good processes there. And I love the fact that you're not stuck in a box. You're out there, and some of us are this way, some of us are that way. But sometimes, especially with girls who are very external in their processing, they're thinking, what in the world's going on with this guy? He's just not talking like I'm talking. Yeah. And sometimes it's that process. Like I said with Susie, sometimes she'll be talking about A and then B and then F and then Q. And I'm just trying to keep up. And then she'll stop and say, what do you think? And I'll say, about what? Which thing? And because I'm trying to internally, and just as I think, oh, maybe I have something to say about that, she switches and goes someplace else. So I forget that. So sometimes you just have to give us guys a little more time and space.
Oh, yeah, that's great. And then Michaela says, and I think this is such a good point, also, I need a safe place to be an external processor. Yeah. And that's true. Those of us who have the love language of quality time, we have to be in that quality relationship before we can do that. Wow. So you guys got that going. While we could chat on that more, we will continue to keep this chat up.
Let's talk about motivation.
So women are motivated when they feel cherished or when they feel loved.
Sometimes Susie just says, just give me a hug. She doesn't want any talk. She just needs a hug. Or sometimes she's like, we had that conversation and you never even hugged me. And it was like, nuts, I forgot something I was processing. So sometimes I need to understand her motivation is to be cherished. Where for me, my motivation is to be needed. I need her to need me. I need her to ask me questions. Can I go to the grocery store? Can I get you a drink? Oftentimes when Susie's coaching, I'll take her in a tea or I'll take her in a biscuit or something. That to me, I love that. I love serving. I love to be needed. So I think for guys, sometimes we're motivated by the cause.
Okay. So my dad is on the Susie account and we're waiting for we have a relative who's having a baby, and a new baby in Michigan just came, and she's a girl, so she's going to be motivated when she feels cherished.
It's good.
Woohoo! Thanks for the info, Pa.
It's great.
Yeah. So what about you? What are you motivated by? Are you motivated by being cherished or loved, needed, by having a cause, or maybe something that we didn't even put?
When you put that up there, I'll tell you something we were researching this week about this whole area. There was a Stanford University did research on is there a difference between guys' brains in apes and girls' brains in apes. And so as a baby apes, apelets, whatever you call them, they put in a bunch of toys. The toys either were like trucks with wheels or they were stuffed animals. And the highest percentage of the girl apelets,
I don't know, but we'll go with it,
went for the soft, cherishable toy, and the male baby apes went for something with wheels that they could move, that they could process along. And I thought, wow, that's very interesting. And I was telling to Susie, these are interesting facts, and she says, yes, but we're not apes. And I was like, oh yeah. So I had to give that fact because I thought it was so interesting, but it probably has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
So what about you? How are you motivated? Paula says, motivated to be needed, a mission, have I have a doer personality. Yeah, thank you, Paula, for reminding us that our personalities are also in mix here. I hope if we catch nothing else from this, Boy Meets Girl, that we are all so unique. And we can't just say, boy, this is how he is. He might need 1.5 to 12 hours to process or this or that, external, internal. And same for me.
I think that's one of the great things when you get to know a guy is you begin to study. How do they process? How are they motivated?
Ask the questions.
What do they need? And you begin to study them.
Yeah, Jacob said, I feel these motivations depend mainly on your personality, explained extremely well by the Enneagram. I also find the Enneagram very helpful for me to understand myself. For me, my motivation is to feel significant or understood by others. Thank you, Jacob, for that.
What is your Enneagram number again? Tell us that,
Jacob, if you know what it
Anybody,
is.
if you know your numbers, you can
I'm
put
a
in there.
7 wing 8.
I'm a 3-4 or a 4-3.
Depending on the day.
I need to process that.
Okay, Laura Hayden says, I'm motivated by both cherished and needed. If the person who needs me never takes time to cherish the work I'm doing, I lose vision and motivation. When I'm only cherished but not needed, I get frustrated and believe my time is wasted.
Good. Good
I love that
self-awareness.
combo. I love that combo that you've
Nadine.
identified. Nadine is motivated when I'm needed and see that what I can contribute is valuable, but also when someone encourages me, it motivates me to do something.
It's really good.
Evelyn said, I think I'm motivated when I feel cherished, but when I don't feel cherished, I tend to substitute trying to be needed, but that often feels more like something I need to keep doing rather than something I can be.
Good.
Jacob's a 4. Yep.
I know I like you 4.
Yeah. And I think that's why the Bible says about husbands and wives, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church.
That's cherished.
And wives, submit to your husbands. So they need
But
to
before
be
that,
needed.
it says submit to each other. So it's like, it's this beautifully wrapped up, cosmic, confusing relationship that's unique.
That's where we're at. Let's talk about words for a moment.
Oh, words.
Okay, and again, the studies are all over the place on this, but we put the studies together. Women have the average capacity for 16,000 to 20,000 words per day, and I'm probably at 25,000 or more words per day. She was
blessed with words. She is word rich. Where guys, on the average, we have a capacity of 7,000 to 16,000 words per day, and I'm closer probably to the 7,000.
Yeah,
unless someone specifically asks me, and then I can talk.
And I also love this. This is like another layer of words. And Dr. Caroline Leaf, who I really enjoy studying, she says that both men and women.
Brain doctor.
Yeah, she's a brain scientist, and she really. She's got a book called "Who Switched on My Brain" and many other, and lots of podcasts and YouTube. But one of the studies that I read recently said that both men and women have about 16,000 or equal words per day, but the way we use our words are different. So women are like steam, like it just slowly, you've got the water here, and then when it goes a little bit hot, women have the form of water like steam. It just sprays out on a constant stream, and it sort of goes all over.
It fogs up your glasses. It's like Seattle. It just continues like rain. It's just there. Where guys would be more like ice, where it's just, this is a glass.
A
chunk in the glass. It's very focused, if you need this information, I can give you this information. So it's ice. It's very specific for the moment.
So we'd love to hear from you in the chat.
Ice or steam?
How many average words would you say you have the capacity for per day? And then if you want, you can add steam or ice. In what way do you display your words?
In the first show today, someone says, I'm going to count. I don't know how maybe you take one of the clickers like they had on the ship
count
or
their
something.
Words all day.
I don't know.
All right. So how would you
if you listen to everything you said today, it would take you a whole day to listen to it?
That's profound.
Thank you.
If you're like me talking all day. If you're like you, it might be an easier job.
Skip ahead.
Yeah. How does it look to have an ice chunk of words for you?
Good.
You need you need time to process, and then you just chunk it out.
Yeah, I mean, just like
help
yesterday.
us understand.
Yesterday, someone asked me a question about my view about something, and I was not talking. It was like, if you ask me that question, I'm going to tell you my thoughts. They're there. I've processed them. They're in a nice little block in my ice cube tray. If someone asks for it, pop. I'm going to pop that thing out there, and I popped it out there. It landed on the table, and then I was done. That's just the way it works.
And honestly, it was very profound. And as much as we always talk and communicate, I never got that ice chunk.
She's never asked that for that one.
I asked the wrong question, or I just don't ask the right question. But there it was, and I was like, wow, you're so wise. You're so smart. You really have put it all
Sometimes
together.
it's hard to ask lots of questions when the room is so steamy.
You got me. 1 point for Dan. Let's go to the chat. Let's go to the chat here. You don't mind what?
I don't mind steamy rooms.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, Dan says, unless, Dan, we can go on a 2-hour walk, then the words are flowing.
That's true. That's
Matt
true.
and Dan had great walks. Jacob says, words are constantly running through my head, but letting them out is difficult.
Yep.
Yeah, Michaela, I tend to want to add reasons to why I like explaining myself so people have an accurate understanding of where I am coming from. If I don't explain, I probably don't care as much. Yeah, good awareness. You care, and so you put it out there.
Agrees.
And Michaela says, my mom says she has 20,000 times 4,000 times 4,000 words per day.
That's a lot of words.
Woo!
That's good.
That's awesome. Michaela says, I like to think I'm a good listener. And Michaela's much more like ice as well. So again, here's a woman who's more like ice. Jacob says, maybe my words are somewhere in between, like water free flowing, but still bound by gravity.
It's good.
Evelyn says, definitely steam and probably more than 20,000 words per day. Rahel says less than 7,000. When I'm with women that talk a lot, they're refreshed after, and I'm tired. Can you understand that one?
That's a mystery.
Thank you for sharing that. Laura says, I know how to listen better too than to talk. And Matthew says, Dan, you're on fire here. Yeah.
I have had, there's been a few times, we're opening the door here, but there've been a few times where I've just said to Susie, I just need you to
He does.
But I
He says, I'm not finished yet.
You know, and then we laugh about it.
Ruben says maybe 4,000. So there we go. He's got it way under the average, which is fine because that's you. Tammy says, definitely steam for me. I can go on and on and on, but I do like to have those thoughts out in gold nuggets to pop out there like the ice.
I love it when the family has these chats and there's Tammy and there's Susie and Kathy all chatting, and I can just sit back and listen. It's like a steam room. It's very good. It's very good.
We're steaming. My dad over lunch mentioned that many women, and they're talking, and the way they experience life is like a river. So the river is flowing and there's streams coming into the river, and women can just take whatever's coming in and whatever's going out into different directions, whatever flows in the river.
But this is all guys. What are guys like?
I don't know. You tell me. What are guys
her
like?
dad said it's more like a door. You walk in, there's the room. You deal with the door, and when you're done, you close the door.
Whatever's in the room, you finish it, and then you go on to the next one. He also added, and then you go to the next room, and if you ask them what was in the last room, they say, I don't know. I closed the door. So when the men around you are in that situation, then give them the space.
So when my boys were growing up, we spent a lot of time with the book Wild at Heart by John Eldredge. I love the book. Some people don't like it, but it really set for guys, for myself with the boys, really 3 areas. One was that there's a battle to fight. And it doesn't mean a conflict that you want to stir up, but within a guy, they're thinking of what is the battle I need to fight for? What is the stance I need to take? What is the adventure to live? And that's huge. I just need to be in an adventure. And from childhood all the way up through, there's this adventure to live and the beauty to rescue. And that can be like the damsel in distress, but it also can be justice. there are things right now going on in our world that there is a rescue that needs to be made. There is a stance that needs to be taken. There is dignity that needs to be given. And there are men who will rise up to grab a hold of that. And that's part of, I believe, girls can have the same thing, but that's something that I've really seen a lot in the guys that I've worked with.
Yeah. So this Wild at Heart, Laura says it's also a great book for girls and guys to read. I also read it, and that gave me a better understanding of both Dan and also of my two boys who are now adult sons.
And John and his wife Stassi, they wrote one called Captivating. Brilliant book. Guys should read as well. But that's next.
About the girls. Yeah, so that's also a great one as well. Michaela says also, I only tend to talk if I feel somewhat confident in what I'm saying. If it's a new idea or thought, I want to sit on it a little so I can bring perspective to a conversation. Otherwise, I like to listen and add info to my mind. That's great. And Matt says, same here, Michaela. I think that's also where the verbal external processing comes in. When an idea isn't clear in my mind, sometimes it helps to wrestle with it out loud with someone. And yes, and this is a very safe place for that. You don't have to have formulated ideas. We can be helping one another gel and come to a higher space with different standards, hopefully fully alive, being the person that God uniquely created you to be, and finding what that is and helping one another do that.
For me, because I have less words each day that I use, I put higher value on them. And sometimes Susie and I'll be talking. She's like, I want your opinion on this. And then she'll just talk. And there'll be no space to put that opinion in there. And so I just go silent because it's like, I think she asked the question so she could answer it. And that's okay. But I'm not going to waste my words on something. If she's now processing, let her process. I don't want to interrupt her. But if someone really wants my words, then they need to give me space to give those.
Yeah. Jess says, I had someone count my words once. Wow, that's a job. I definitely have the capacity for 20,000 words a day, especially if I'm speaking to multiple people on several subjects. But that can be exhausting. And Matt wants to know, did you pay them well for that 20,000? What was their price per word?
Pay to be with her.
Yeah, she's just that awesome. She's awesome. They must have been a great listener, Laura said. It's so true.
So here's the thing. There's the ways guys think. There's the way girls think. There's a mixture there. I think sometimes the problem with us guys is that we come to believe, well, this is who I am. Almost like an animal mentality that, well, this is the way I think and this is the way I have to think all the time. But we can choose our thoughts. In Philippians chapter 4, verse 8, it says, finally, brothers
and sisters.
This is for both of us, but we're going to focus on the guys.
That's right.
Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is admirable.
Lovely.
Admirable.
Lovely and admirable. Now you got me.
If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. We can set our mind on those things that we should be. If our mind is going in areas that are impure or things that are untrue or things that are down, putting people down, we as guys and girls have the right and have the God-given ability to change those thoughts.
Yeah. So very important. What should we think about? What should we process in this whole boy meets girl, guys, girls, and the uniqueness of each one of us?
So we've gone about 1 hour. We've gone just over an hour. Let's sort of make this the backstage now. We just are chatting. But I just want to say, if you have to leave, before you leave, please put in the chat, what is one takeaway or more than one takeaway? What is one thing that you got from today? Process it there. Put it into, maybe take 10 of your words that you'll use today and put them in the chat for you to process, but also for other people to learn from what you learned.
Yeah, so takeaway in the chat here. And then we put the offer up. If you are already within the Fully Alive Revolution Facebook group, it's a private group. We want to encourage you there. We're going to go there, and every day or different times in the day, we're going to put up another slide that you just saw here. We don't have a download for you today, but we want to take this chat further because many of you guys and girls, you need time to process what's been going on. And so we're going to put one of those slides up, different, maybe in the morning and the night, because there's a number of slides and subjects that we could talk. And if any of those slide pictures really catch your mind, pop in that space and continue to give your thoughts, your opinions, your stories, your resources.
Put a video there.
We would love to continue to hear from you. In the Fully Alive Revolution Facebook group, we had a season where we were being creative and encouraging each other to be creative. Continue doing that as well. And now we want to just take this space for these unique relationships, and especially guy meets girl. And this week we're going to just be there. So hope to see you there. What if you don't have Facebook? No problem. You can continue to have the chat and chat with us at any place where you connect with us. We'd love to hear your wisdom. So we've got a couple takeaways that's going on again. And takeaway from Evelyn is, my takeaway is the part about the physical processing time for guys and girls. Now I understand why I still feel bad 8 or 10 hours after an emotional moment. Good
awareness.
Thank you, Evelyn. When I read that and I learned that myself, I was like, there's not something wrong with me. I just need time, because that's how I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yeah, and same thing with me. When I found out it's okay to just take 90 minutes, there's nothing wrong. I'm not in touch with my side. It doesn't matter. That's how long it takes me. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, thank you. We'd love for you to stay here for the backstage. Do we need to turn around to have backstage?
Oh, backstage.
Backstage. Okay. Now we're backstage.
Again, coming up for next week, if you have friends, I would invite a handful of friends, that's maybe 5, to join us as we grow this. I think today we've probably had more people on the webinars between the two than we ever have. And thank you for inviting people to come along.
And thank you for coming yourself.
So what are some questions, some thoughts, some comments, some
emotional
outbursts that you'd have at this moment?
Other questions that you might have for the guys in the room, or Dan specifically?
Yes.
I think one of the things...
Can we just ask Matt some questions?
Yeah.
Or Jacob some questions?
One of the things that we wanted to do that didn't happen yet, but it's going to be in the Fully Alive Revolution space, is we wanted to interview my dad and have some kind of a video. So we'll do that in the space. But my mom and my dad have been married for a number of years. I don't know exactly. So maybe it's going on 59. Oh, 60. It just turned 60 years, I think, that they've been married. I don't know exactly, but we'll find out. And anyways,
you can type in there. Type in how many.
How long have you been married? So my dad, at any day, at any second of the day, can tell you exactly to the day, to the year, month, day, how long him and Mumsy have been married. And he has a very interesting perspective on commitment from the guy's perspective. One of the things that we were asked to talk about is commitment. Now, why are we so afraid of commitment? We didn't quite figure out how to do that in this particular section, but that is something that we'll definitely be talking about in the Fully Alive Revolution Facebook group, about commitment. And
we'll probably do a few Facebook Lives there as well.
Yeah, so let's
keep the conversation
let's
going.
just keep that happen. But we want to do that with him because he has an interesting perspective on commitment, and there is no doubt about my dad's commitment to my mom. Me, for example, they stopped in here, and on their way here, they popped 2 of their right tires. So their car is in the shop and trying to work with insurance. And meanwhile, we get them for a little bit more extended time. But every time we go somewhere, Mumsy's sitting in the back and Pa's sitting in the front right. And every time I'm walking into the shop with him, he goes, no, wait a minute. I got to go see my Joni girlie. And he goes around the window and he goes and sees her, gives her a kiss. And when we come back, he's got to go straight there and see her. I mean, there's true love going on there. And we could learn a thing or two from my parents.
60 years, 4 months, and 4 days.
There you go, Pa. I knew you could do it.
I love Laura asked a question here about Susie. Will you plan a flirting workshop?
Webinar.
She could do a flirting workshop.
You think I know how to flirt?
Oh my goodness. She's a huge flirt.
I don't even know I'm flirting. Wait, is that a request? Are you processing?
I thought she was deeply in love with me. She didn't even know my name, so she understands flirting. I don't understand flirting, so.
I mean,
but a webinar on it would be a great thing.
You feel a little offended by that, but I remember people by people. I don't always remember names, so you don't think I remembered you at all.
I called her to say, hi there, guess who? And she says, I don't know. And then eventually I got around to, this is Dan Potter. Dan who? I mean, it was like,
She
she
said
did
Dan,
not.
and I said
Dan who? And then it was like, oh yeah. She was like, I have no idea who I'm talking to.
But he pursued me, and he made an impression on me time after time after time, and I'm so glad that he did.
Anyway, to answer the question, that would be a great webinar.
I wrote it down, flirting. What else would you guys like to know about for the Girl Meets Guy? You can put that right here in the chat, or you can put it, any message to us. You can put it in the Fully Alive Revolution group as well. That's great. Hey guys, okay. Jess says, hey guys, if you don't say hi, you are missing the first step. Super important. That's all I'm saying. I might have missed part of the chat. Did I? I might have just jumped right up in there. Michaela's mom, the Philippians verse would be perfect coaching tool to help me process in my 9 hours. Yeah, Philippians 4:8. What to think about. Paolo says, my takeaway from this is to respect and understand different people's processing times and fight my need to solve things immediately or as soon as possible. Thank you, Paolo. Thank you for taking the time to write your takeaway. We benefit from that as well as you. And Jess says, yes, that was very comforting to know that taking my time is necessary for me and my relationship to do well. Let's see. First lesson, the importance of hi. There you go, Jess. That's where that came from. And again, my mom and dad have been married 60 years, 4 months, and 4 days. He's on my Susie Potter computer. And let's see. Great minds include boundaries in dating. Thank you. I'm hearing you. I think we have a lot. I'm just wondering if you guys wouldn't mind responding in the chat or to us personally. We have a lot because next week is kind of about the girls' side, things that are a little bit more important for the girls to talk about. But then dating and boundaries is maybe a whole nother level. Would you like, after the Girl Meets Guys, to do one on boundaries and dating and maybe include flirting? What do you think about that?
We also talked about unsafe friend. We talked about generational connections, but we can go any direction that we need to.
We'd love to hear from you, what you would like after the Girl Meets Guys. And I'm hearing this boundaries, dating, flirting, something of a combination for that. Great. Thank you for that recommendation. Boundaries and dating. We're hearing you. Thank you. I've got that written down. Yes. Okay. I'm getting some yeses about that. Good idea. Good idea. Yes, please. Thank you. We're hearing from you. We will do that. I don't know if it's going to be in part of the girls one. I think it will be in the next one. Yeah.
We'll
that's
focus
such a subject.
1 week specifically on the girls' brain.
The ladies.
So if you have any friends that are guys who need to understand you, maybe bring them along next week.
Matt, I love this. Probably best to do the boundaries one before the flirting one. I love your humor,
How about
Matt.
flirting with boundaries?
Oh, after the girl one, I have to learn about the 9 to 12 hour emotional processing first. Yeah. Laura, maybe you should do a time study as well for you. In the midst of your journaling or whatever. I love the laughter and the humor that's being displayed. Whoop. Sorry about your
we have this new program called Searchy.io, and Searchy.io basically takes every video you've ever made online or you have it on your website or whatever, and it immediately makes it into a transcript. It makes it into an audio file.
And searchable.
And it makes it searchable. So if like we're going to eventually have all of our videos available, so you could type in bicycle, and you will come to the place in one of our videos where we're talking about, did Dan run into the tree with a bicycle or not? Every single video we've ever made will be searchable. You just type in a word and you'll go directly to that video. That's what we're working on right now in the process of launching the Fully Live Revolution. But I was just thinking, if I recorded all day long everything I said and then just threw it into Searchy, it would immediately tell me my word count.
There you go.
Yeah, it's great.
Now you got a tool. You don't have to get Jess's counting person and pay them by the
so
word.
We've actually been thinking how to take Relaunch Your Life, the course, and make it into a book. I now have every single word from the entire course on my computer. So we're just going to edit that out and see if we can ship it off for a book.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the same thing with all of the Duzie Lives as well. Make them into a PDF or something for people to be able to use if they want to.
Yeah.
Well, the other part of it is we can take it and push a button, and then all our videos have closed caption as well in the future. That
In
will be
English.
in
Unfortunately,
English.
not
Sorry.
another language yet.
But they say languages are coming, so hopefully eventually we can push another button and it's in Swiss German. How'd you like that?
Ooh, how's that, Laura? You can have it in Swiss German with your awesome chocolate.
Right.
Yeah. Great. Laura says, I just noticed your clock behind you. That's so neat. This was a Christmas present for Dan quite a number of years ago. You had that even in Michigan. So
Yep.
we've had that a good 7, 8, 9, 10 years. It's fun. It flips. So you can see that here it's 3:18 p.m.
When I do my editing, I always can see which, was this the morning or the afternoon? That's there basically for my editing.
Yeah.
True. And by the
Rahel
way,
says,
all of these videos are always on Duzie Potter YouTube channel. The one is ready to go up from the morning, and by tonight, hopefully this one will also be up there.
oh, yeah. Rahel, thank you for your comment. A boundaries series made me leave my ex-boyfriend. I should have known that before.
Mm.
So
That's good.
there we go. A shout out to the importance of boundaries. I'd love to hear from you, Rahel, sometime this week. What was so important about that boundaries series that we should actually include?
One of the
in
things
ours?
Susie and I used to do when we were youth pastors is we would take some of the teenagers who were dating, we would go on double dates with them.
Yeah.
And always the question would be, okay, so what are your boundaries? And they're like, But we would have this open, and these people had been dating maybe 6 months, 9 months, and they had never talked
And
about
we had
the
them
boundaries.
say their individual boundaries, and they were definitely different than each other. And having that
And we just
conversation.
helped them figure out, okay, what's
Yeah.
your boundaries together?
Yeah, that's
Very
right.
helpful.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Rahel, for that shout out there. That's great.
Well, we've come to 1 hour and 18 minutes and 23 seconds. I'm not sure if there's any other questions. If there is, we can continue on. But if not, we can come to a close as well.
Yeah, yeah. Michaela says even
I
include
still have
how
17 words left for my day, so I can continue going.
even include how you know you are a true partnership, not just a couple. You guys are definitely Duzie and make much more impact because of how you build each other up, if that makes sense. Michaela, you're so right. We know so many people, and they're like, I just have to get a Christian boyfriend, a Christian girlfriend, and there's so much more than that. Where is God taking you individually? And make sure that those individual directions that God is wiring you is a good compatible. Sometimes, even though we are completely opposite of one another, we're a good mesh together. And I know so many power couples like Duzie that are power couples that are completely opposite one another, but the togetherness and the direction that they're going, bringing the unique giftings and abilities together, makes such a difference for the kingdom of God. I think it's like that as well in partnerships and in our friendships. Make sure that the friendships, every unique relationship that you have, that it is helping to take you. In our Fully Alive Revolution, one of the key elements is what we call the community net. Can you talk to us just a moment about our community net?
Well, the community net is basically three things. N means your nest, that's your small group of people that you really belong to, that you can be very vulnerable and honest with. Then there's the E, which is your eagle. That's a mentor or a coach that's really overseeing, that's teaching you how to feed yourself, how to fly. They're speaking into your life, but allowing you to have wings. And then there's the T, which is the tree. That's the larger community that we have to belong to. Too often I see people that are like, I just need my small group, and they sort of cut down the tree. But we need roots. We need stability. And that's where the greater tree, the community, is needed for all of us.
Yeah, so find those people that support you and you can belong in that space. And these wise people, especially like in boundaries and dating and any relationship, these eagles with more experience or outer perspective, higher perspective, can help you in the space where you're at as well. Yeah. It looks like we're coming to the end. There's not too many more questions, comments. Have you run out of words, babe? Yeah, don't forget that your life is a remarkable story, an adventure that only you can create.
My name is Dan.
And I'm Susie.
Together we're a Duzie.
Duzie.
We're glad you joined us today. I'm glad we could take this journey with you. And that is my word, number 7,000.
So the end. We encourage you to live fully and to love fully. Again, thank you for those of you who have joined us live. Those of you who signed up for the replay, you will be able to have the replay with the comments in it. Those who see it on YouTube, it is without comments, but you'll be able to see it as well. Matt Taylor has words to donate to you. Hope you guys can lip read so you can still make word formations with your mouth even if your words can't come out. Thank you for everything. Please don't forget to put your takeaway there in the chat. Before we end, we still want to hear what was important to you, or you can put that in the Fully Alive Revolution. You're just going to let me talk on. Jess could listen to us both all day. Jess, maybe you could only listen to me all day because look at what's going on right here. He's out of words. Whoop.
I'm internally processing.
Oh, I'm internally processing. You had 3 extras. We love you. Thank you for being a part of Duzie Live. Boy meets
This was great.
girl.
Lots of fun.
It has been amazing. God bless you. And we'll see you in the Fully Alive Revolution Facebook group for further discussions this week. God bless you all. And thank you. Thank you.
Bye.